of where
another victory cigarette, so live with it. This is a Virginia Slims Mel Liberation moment.
In a way that really inspired a lot of passion.
Do we know, Dave, were many of these people first-time voters?
Can't tell, really. And I can't tell yet by looking whether the actual raw numbers are going to be higher than they were 4 years ago, because not all of the vote is counted. But what I am seeing are different margins. He really romped in these conservative areas.
When you talked with conservatives there, Trump supporters, what did they tell you about what they liked about him?
Well, as in with so many others, I mean, it's much more what they don't like about Hillary Clinton. Too much of the same. They see her as corrupt and dishonest and out for herself. And so they've gone to Trump. Some fully embrace Trump. I mean, they say he's, you know, a businessman, somebody who says it like it is. Many don't think he'll get everything he promises to do, but they're so frustrated with, you know, the economic dislocation that has cost jobs and income here that they really want to change.
There were some key down-ballot races in Pennsylvania too, right?
Well, the big one was a U.S. Senate contest where Pat Toomey, a one-term Republican, was running uphill. In Pennsylvania, you have like 900,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans, so they tend to come out in a presidential year, so that made it tough for Toomey. He has done a fine job of presenting himself as a more pragmatic, moderate guy who tacks to the middle. He worked with West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin on background checks, and he made most of that. He got Michael Bloomberg to endorse him and Gabby Gifford. And again, I think Trump's performance, particularly in the conservative areas, really brought out a lot of conservative voters. That race is still too close to call. It's right about where the Trump race is, but it appears that Toomey may hold on to a seat, Republican.
Another nail-biter in Pennsylvania. Dave Davies of member station WHYY. Thanks so much, Dave.
Sure thing.
Ron Elving is with us here in the studio. And Ron, you know, the evening began with a report from Texas that George W. Bush and Laura Bush had cast their votes and did not vote for Donald Trump for president. So here is a Republican nominee who did not have the support of the last two Republican presidents, George W. Bush or George H.W. Bush, did not have the support of the last two nominees, Mitt Romney or John McCain, did not even have the full support of the House Speaker,
How sweet it is.
And yet, he now seems to be on the path to
Paul Ryan can get the H out of here.
How did this happen? It may be that all of those Republicans you just cited, by not supporting Donald Trump, in a sense, helped him. Because they reinforced.
Now, you might ask why a non-Trump supporter like me is elated because I love my country.
Not just a change from Barack Obama. Actually, the exit polls are showing us that of the people who voted today, 54% of them approve of the way Barack Obama is handling his job. So this is not, directly speaking, a rejection of Barack Obama's presidency per se.
Anti-Washington.
It's anti-Washington. And as some people have said, these voters want a chance to punch Washington in the face, and whatever else you want to say about Donald Trump, he is a punch in the face.
You know, this actually reminds me, when I was in Western North Carolina speaking with Trump supporters about what they liked about him, they said it was the very bull in the china shop quality. The fact that he was so unpredictable, the fact that he would just go in and break
freedom
things,
to smoke.
Although they used a more vulgar word than things, that was what appealed to them about him.
Yes, and that's fine as long as it's someone else's
to love tobacco.
But
hallelujah
if
to
it's
the Lamb of
Washington,
God.
D.C., and if he is going to go off and do battle against the rather ill-defined notion of what Washington, D.C. is, then people are okay with that. But tomorrow and next week and after January 20th, Inauguration Day, they're going to be dealing with Donald Trump as their president, and the China shop will be their country.
And so if you are that GOP infrastructure that every previous Republican president and leader has depended on, so much of which opposes Donald Trump, what do you do? Where do you fit in a potential Trump presidency?
Let's put it this way. Many of the Republicans, including Paul Ryan, were willing to split the baby this way. They were going to say they didn't really like Donald Trump. They didn't approve of much of his behavior. They didn't like the way he had gone about winning the nomination, all of that. But what they liked was the idea that if he became president, he would sign their bills that Barack Obama has been vetoing. And he would appoint someone to the Supreme Court to take the place of Antonin Scalia, who would be a Republican, presumably, or certainly somebody that they would like better than anybody that Hillary Clinton would appoint. And that, I think, applied to a lot of the voters as well.
NPR's Ron Elving, lots more to come. Thanks. thanks for your analysis as always. And if you want to know more about what's happening in your state, even down to the county by county level, check out npr.org where you can see detailed results. You're listening
to help folks maximize their Medicare benefits and save money.
The enrollment period for Medicare has already started. What is it people need to keep in mind?
Enrollment
Iowa City, along with Donna Hoffman of the University of Northern Iowa, providing our political analysis for this very, very surprising night. We want to check back in to the congressional races here in Iowa. Just to update you, all of Iowa's congressional races have now been called. Dave Loebsack winning again in the 2nd District, Dave Young in the 3rd District, Steve King in the 4th District, and in the 1st District, Rod Blum retaining
Thank you for our
his seat in the
rural
1st District. And also,
citizens.
since our last break, Donald Trump now projected to win Iowa and its 6 electoral votes. Let's go to Pat Blank and Charity Nevy. Charity Nevy with the Monica Vernon Watch Party, and Pat Blank with the Rod Blum Party in Dubuque. Pat Blank, to you, the victor there, Rod Blum, has he spoken yet?
He has just taken the stage, and the emphasis is on party. It has been a party since probably about an hour and a half ago. And as I mentioned earlier, as each state turned red, it got more and more raucous, and it is in full swing right now. Rod Blum has just taken the stage and has been congratulated by all of the party faithful who have stayed.
I think they're the only ones.
Here.
Husband or a father.
Yep.
In Watch Party, a much different mood there.
Yes, people have pretty much packed up to head home. There are a few people left, but Monica Vernon came out a few minutes ago. She gave her concession speech that she congratulated her opponent. And her message was that she wants to work to make sure that all Iowans have opportunities, regardless of race or gender or disability. She left with a very positive message about the future and what she wants to make of it.
Okay. Once again, Trump projected to win Iowa as well, so a red sweep in the state of Iowa. The congressional races held on to 5 of 6 of Iowa's congressional seats, with the exception of Dave Loebsack's congressional seat will be held by a Democrat. Otherwise, Republicans also in our state legislature, the state Senate flipping to the Republicans.
All right.
And Charity Nevy, thank you very much for your reporting this evening. I want to go over to Donna Hoffman. You've been taking this in as well as the national picture here. It's all, this is a wave election, right?
Well, it's shaping up to be pretty interesting in that regard, I would say. So here's this 1st district in Iowa at one point earlier was rated as the top Democratic pickup. It kind of worked its way down, but still it was in
election by radio
in terms of districts that the Democrats could potentially pick up. So here I think you'd very definitely have a case where the top of the ticket really helped Rod Blum in this particular race. And again, this is a district that had, in terms of the Cook Voter Index, had a PVI of a +4, and that takes into account its previous votes and various things. This really was seen as being one of the top pickups where the Democrats could pick up some House seats, and that obviously hasn't happened. And I think, again, Blum now will be no longer a freshman. He'll be a sophomore. This district gets easier for him to hold than potentially because he has more ability to do, or more time to do constituent service. We'll see if he stays with the term limit aspect of what he's talked about that we discussed a little bit earlier. But this definitely is, with the state being called for Trump, something that we see him helping this particular ticket, I think, in particular.
Also, on the local level, the Des Moines Register projecting the Iowa Supreme Court justices to win their retention. Their small campaign against the justices. We had 3 justices involved in that Varnum decision legalizing same-sex marriage here in Iowa. Those justices seem to have been retained in this election.
Too bad.
Very quickly, before we go back in just a few seconds, Donna Hoffman, does this mean that we're still a cliffhanger? Are we waiting here in the next few minutes? We may hear that Donald Trump will be projected to win?
We're still waiting for that, but, we have just recently had Pennsylvania move. It's almost tied, essentially. Trump's up by about 3,000 votes, it looks like, in Pennsylvania, and Hillary Clinton had been maintaining her lead there. We still don't know about Michigan and Wisconsin, but definitely it looks like it's Trump's night.
Okay. Live election coverage of 2016 from NPR and Iowa Public Radio continues. I'm Ben Kiefer with Donna Hoffman.
An awful couple months ahead of us.
Continuing to talk about illegitimacy and things like that. And I've been very careful about that, Brad, because talked to a national security consultant a couple of weeks ago, and he said,
WHO.
Yes, the Russians are interfering in our elections. And he didn't say that because they were trying to rig it for a candidate or another candidate. He said their plan is to undermine our confidence in the outcome of the election. And so I've been very careful in talking on the air. No matter how close things are, we can accept the result of the election. And we need to be able to do that because it plays in the hands of our enemies to not do that.
Now, we understand that Governor Branstad is approaching the stage of the Republican Party headquarters tonight, and we're going to check in with Richard Lee. We've kind of learned that it may or may not happen exactly as we think. So, the governor's coming to Richard. So do we want to go to Richard right now, or do we want to wait? We're going to stretch just a little bit. It's interesting as I'm watching these numbers come in. Now, when we go to the Iowa Secretary of State's website, we see numbers that somebody's posted up there. So then you refresh the screen, you come back later, it's a little bit different. But there is access to the raw numbers. You can get that, but you need a team of people who know what they're doing to really hash through those numbers. I'm going to guess that's what all of these major networks are doing. We've been tracking, I think that FoxNews.com has had really, and I was watching CNN.com as well.
Next Salem for
faster
peace.
And more accurate. We can literally watch now, for example, Michigan, 72% of the vote is in. I'm watching the numbers almost like a cash register twirl in front of me as they move upward, and then bam, the percentage goes up again. So at 72%, it's slightly narrowed the gap between Clinton and Trump. It's just crazy. He was up by what, 0.8? He's up now.
Yeah.
He's up now by 0.4. It's
crazy.
That close.
I tell you, what's crazier is the margin here in Iowa. You're looking at now, a 10-point margin here in Iowa. Some of these targeted Senate races that were considered hot races and close, Gronsall, Sodders, Wilhelm, St. John, Brace, even Tom Courtney, which was not even targeted, and Rich Taylor is close. They're all.
Thank you for hearing and answering prayers.
And that's a wave.
All right, we're going to go to Richard Lee right now, Iowa Republican headquarters. Richard?
Yes, we're saying bye with Governor Terry Branstad. First of all, congratulations, Governor.
Well, it was a great day. I think I said this in Sioux City last Sunday. It's not about the Washington establishment or the media elite or Hollywood. It's about the people of America, especially those of us that live here in rural America. Hard-working people that work in factories and construction.
That's our Terry.
Farmers. And we spoke. And I'm proud that Donald Trump carried Iowa, and he carried Lee County by 1,000 votes. He carried Jasper County by a big margin. We elected all three of our Republican congressmen. We picked up six state Senate districts. Dan Dawson handily beat Mike Gronsall.
That has to be one of the
sweetest.
Well, we could see this coming. We could see this coming because the people in Council Bluffs were tired of somebody that wanted to dictate instead of listen to the constituents. With Dan Dawson, we've got somebody with a military background and also a law enforcement background, and somebody that's a good listener. I think will really represent
Praise His precious name.
County and Council Bluffs. And of course, Mark Lofgren won, Greg Johnson won, Jeff Edler, Waylon Brown. Waylon Brown went to 27,000.
Sweetest time I've ever spent in this van in a long time.
And lost 40 pounds and won by a landslide. This is how you win elections. Work hard, go out, see the people, listen. And of course, Tom Green was another big upset in the Burlington area. So we won. We thought we could maybe win 5 seats. We won 6. So it was a great night, and I'm really looking forward to working with both the House and the Senate. I think we got an opportunity to do water quality, which passed the House last year, but Branstad wouldn't debate it. Now we'll have a chance to debate that. Hopefully other issues that can help us create jobs and continue to improve education. So I think we had a great night, and I'm very proud of the